Hi there! Welcome back to A Face for Radio. This was such an interesting episode for me to record because I chat with my friend Andrea about the Isle of Paradise tanning drops. As someone with naturally medium to tan skin, I'm not someone who normally buys a lot of tanning products. However, I love to spend my time outdoors, especially in the warmer months, and I'm constantly reprimanded by my mom and my doctors for it. This is where I turn to Andrea, one of my closest friends and college roommate. Normally, I call Andrea to ask where to get a facial in New York City because she knows all the best spots. But with summer starting, we had recorded this at the end of May, she mentioned that she was trying these new drops. Like Andrea, I had seen them all over social media and I wanted to learn more. Andrea has found that they fit the bill for what she needs to get her summer glow on, so let's dive right in. Enjoy!
Well, thank you for being here and for doing this.
Of course.
Okay, so my first question for everyone is always, do you remember your first beauty routine or your first product that you bought?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like when I was younger, I definitely was into makeup, but not the nice makeup that we all use today, but like the sparkly eyeshadow and stealing my mom's red lipstick and trying to just dress up with high heels and hang around the house. It's definitely evolved much over the years. The dark eyeliner has subsided quite a bit, and I've started to adopt kind of more of a natural beauty routine. But that's my first memory.
I can't imagine you with dark eyeliner now.
Oh, lots. Like picture Avril Lavigne. That was the middle school, what you wanted. You had to have the dark jet black mascara and then double eyeliner.
That's so funny. I remember going to Sephora around middle school and they had those glitter tubes that you would put on your eyelids.
Of course.
Yeah.
It was way ready, but yet we were 14 years old, so we were definitely not doing that.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I did that to go to hang out at my all-girls school. Let's talk about kind of how you have kind of evolved your beauty routine for your skin type and tone. Do you remember a point where you realized this is what my skin type is?
Maybe not a point per se, but I've always gotten naturally tan in the summer, but I don't have flawless skin by any means. So I think probably throughout high school and beyond, I started realizing that I have to take better care of it, and just get into a routine that is healthy for it, and everything from just washing it once a day to wearing sunscreen, and making sure that your skin is your largest organism, really. And so how can you take care of something that's going to be with you forever?
Yeah. And would you say your skin's drier or oilier, in the middle?
It's actually gone both ways. So as younger, it was definitely oilier, and now I found that it's pretty dry. So probably landing somewhere in the middle. One thing I've definitely learned is not to over exfoliate. There was a phase where I thought that, washing it more and using more face masks was how to get all of that oil out. But in fact, it just made your skin overproduce. And so I think finding that balance has been super helpful for me.
Yeah, I think one thing I learned was if you break out, that doesn't mean that you automatically have too much oil. And sometimes putting hydrating stuff in actually helps clear that. It's not a one-stop shop or a one cure-all for everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to hear your tips on what to use. This summer, I've definitely been trying out a couple different new brands of face wash, moisturizers. So we can circle back on those since I've tested them for a few weeks.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I've been hearing from people oh, the Sephora sale, or I'm home, so I'm doing more masks, and people are just trying new stuff. So I'm excited. I'm oh, I will definitely ask you again when you have opinions, good or bad. So, okay, now that we're moving into summer, I know that we all are trying to kind of get the most sun we can, or just get that kind of summer glow. So you mentioned you do tan pretty easily or regularly in the summer, but have you ever had long-term tanning products you've used over the years? Kind of what do you do to get that?
Yeah, so I've always imagined myself as someone who had this amazing bronze glow, like a Grecian goddess. Has that happened consistently? Not really. But typically over the years, I've just become really tan from spending a lot of time outside, whether at the beach or, playing golf or tennis or sports outside. But I've noticed that, clearly after working in offices more, and now that we're getting older, we can't just gallivant outside. And so my glow stick legs are out in full force. And so I kind of went back and forth. Should I use something like tan drops, or should I try like a self tanner? There's tons of like Saint Tropez and other brands that are touted as being one of the best ones. You just put it on a little mitt and rub it all around. But I was very fearful of having like an Oompa Loompa orange look. And so I've been kind of watching different bloggers and what they've used and really enjoyed. And that's how I discovered Isle of Paradise tan drops.
So this one comes in a couple different shades, right?
It does. So they have light, medium, and dark. I use the medium.
Okay.
Which the nice thing about them, so depending on the number of drops of the oil that you use, you can kind of decrease or increase your tan. So you can use 1 to 10 drops. I usually use around 4 or 5, and it gives you actually a pretty robust tan, but it's not super dark. So I use it for kind of like enhancing a glow. Looks like you've spent a day at the beach, but not like a week at the beach, which is nice. And you just, to use it, you do a couple of pumps of moisturizer and then the drops of the oil, and then just rub it all over. So it's super, super simple.
And so how often would you apply it?
So they recommend applying like every 3 to 5 days.
Okay.
I usually do it once a week if I'm trying to maintain. But I don't know, I figure because I'm outside as well and doing other things, like this isn't my only source of sun, but it definitely cuts some of the edge of when you haven't been outside for 6 months and then you just want to prime the base a little bit.
Yeah. So you're using the medium one.
Yes.
And you've only tried that so far, right?
I've only tried the medium. I'd be curious to try the dark and do less drops, or I don't know, just play around with it. I've definitely seen people with like, I have a pretty kind of medium, like olive, but light skin tone, but I've seen people who have paler skin than me and they use the dark, and it turns out just fine. So it really doesn't, you don't have to reflect it to like the level of your skin tone.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, because I would wonder if it would show up on me as anything.
I feel like it would. I think it would, because it's like a bronze versus, I don't know, like
Yeah.
versus like an orangey, which is nice.
So I guess compared to a normal tanning product, this is more, it gives you more glow than more color maybe.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. And you can also build it. So you can try like a couple drops one day, and if it's not dark enough, then you build on top of that. Like I could definitely, when I woke up the next morning, the good thing is it doesn't rub off on your sheets or anything. You just wear kind of baggy clothing. That was one thing I was very worried about, white sheets everywhere. And so I woke up and you could instantly see the tan. It was as if I had spent a day lying at the beach, which was really nice. But you can also see like if you miss spots, it's not like a blatant stripe or anything, but you can see I didn't do like my full feet, and they were different colors than my legs.
But that's kind of good in a way because it shows you how effective the product is. Then you can actually see that it worked.
Exactly. Yeah.
So do you see it right away when you put it on, or it has to sit for a couple hours?
So you can tell you're putting something on, but it definitely looks more like a moisturizer, like a Jergens tinted moisturizer, for example. And then once you let it sit in, that's when you see the full impact.
Okay.
So you
So
might
if you were
guess if it's working or not, but give it some hours and it'll work.
so if you were gonna go, like if you had an event or something and you wanted to look a little tanner, would you do it like the day of, the day before?
I would do the day before, and let it sit, or at least like 6 to 8 hours in advance of the event. But I think for maximum kind of potency, day before for sure.
Okay, and do you notice it fading? Like you said, they recommend doing it 3 to 5 days. Do you notice the color fading in that time between your uses?
So actually, I haven't noticed that between like 5 days. At this point, I actually haven't reapplied in a couple of weeks. So there's still like a faint glow. It doesn't just disappear, but it's definitely not as strong as it was when it first started.
Yeah.
So I would say like over a week or a couple of weeks time, you could see the difference.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a pretty good product that it actually lasts and gives you kind of that base.
Yeah, what I really would be interested in trying is the Isle of Paradise versus the Tan Luxe drops. They're another kind of like very famous brand right now, and I feel like it would be interesting to see how long both of them last, but also how the color compares. I've seen lots of comparisons in, again, the blogging world, and so want to try it for myself.
Yeah, I one of the bloggers I follow uses the Tan Lux drops, and she kept getting these like DMs saying like, "You look tan. What are you doing?" And I was like, I don't think she looks as tan as she
Yeah.
usually does. So
Interesting. But I'm curious, you could do all sorts of comparisons because it would also be interesting. I've actually never used like a mitt and a mousse of any sort, but those I just feel like you're instantly darker with those. Like the moment that you're putting them on, you can see that you're getting darker, which is great. But it's also very easy to kind of cross the line and go a little too dark or it looks unrealistic. So these are more of like a natural tan, I would say.
yeah, and it's also just nice because it limits how much you're in the sun, I guess, if you want to limit your sun exposure, or do you feel like it doesn't replace going out in the sun?
I think it depends on what kind of person you are. For me, like it will never replace being out there because so much of what I do is outside. But if you really want to take care of your skin, like you could put tons of sunscreen on, wear a visor and sunglasses all day and use them. And the good thing, you can use them on your face too. And so you can use them all over and you would have the appearance of if you were outside and not protecting your skin as much. And it doesn't have like that weird funky odor of like this fake tan, so people would never know.
So I was gonna ask, do they smell like anything?
No, it
Oh,
really, I wonder, I don't know. It definitely doesn't smell like weird or orange, like a fake tan. No, it kind
wow.
of just smells like I don't know, like a product, kind of like a face wash or something.
Okay,
But
so just like clean smelling.
yeah, clean smelling. There's not really like a scent.
That's good because I think a lot of summery products tend to either be like very coconutty or very florally. And
Yes,
I like the coconut, but it can be very overpowering.
I agree. Like coconut chapstick, 100, or sunscreen, it's great. It fits the bill, but anything else is kind of too much. You're like a walking tropical paradise or something.
Yeah, which I guess right now we're all kind of like, oh, I don't mind, but
Yeah, like that's why I tried these now. To your earlier point, like everyone is home, and I figured, okay, worst case, like I don't look great at all, but it's okay. Who's gonna see me? So I think it's a good time to kind of test and learn and figure out what products do you like, what are good for your skin.
so did you try it on your whole body or just your legs?
All my body. I haven't tried it a ton on my face because, again, to my earlier point, like new product on my face doesn't always go well. I tend to break out, and so didn't even want to dabble in that area. Although it's not supposed to break you out. I think it's like non-comedogenic and it has moisturizing kind of essence in it. You tell me, but it's supposed to be really really good for your face. So I probably will in the coming weeks.
Well,
But yeah, all over.
I would think also the fact that you're mixing it with a moisturizer could also limit how much it would irritate your skin because you're putting something that you know works for you.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I did notice it's like a clean product, which
Yeah.
I think is great as a baseline. And I'm always intrigued when I see that. And it kind of gives me a push in the direction of purchasing a product. But in terms of when I talk to people and recommend things, I'm never going to be like, oh, this product's clean, you should use it, because I don't really know what that means. And I know there's like avenues that you can kind of circumvent the regulations. So I'm hesitant to be like, oh, it's clean, use it. But I think it's a good baseline.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good aspiration to go for products that are like that. But at the end of the day, if there's something that works well for me and I enjoy, I wouldn't necessarily give it up just to make sure that I have a clean set.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you were kind of looking at different bloggers to find these products. So what was the process for you and why did you end up picking this one?
So everyone, literally every single person that I follow that mentioned them loved them. And after looking at both their testimonials, they did tons of tutorials. So it was very like basic proof. Literally anyone can use these. I figured it was worth a shot, looked up the reviews. They have 5 stars, I'm pretty sure, on Sephora and everywhere. Plus, it was a Sephora sale, so they were on sale. So what's better than trying a new product when it's like on sale? Everyone loves it. I just figured, what's not to like?
Yeah. I think that's so interesting because I always am curious to see how other people react first before I try something that is like very different than my normal routine.
I
So I
agree.
think, yeah. That's
And
good.
it's nice because you could see, for instance, like people on Instagram, you can see how it looks in real life. And yes, they're probably doing additional filters and things. So, but there were a couple that did like no filters, like true photos. And so that was super helpful in seeing the before and after. And also in understanding how many like drops to do, for instance. A lot of them used, that middle ground of drops. And so I knew, okay, this isn't going to be like so dark.
Okay, that's interesting. And it's also, do you think you look for people who have like a similar skin tone to yours when you're trying to assess if it's going to work for you?
I think so, maybe even not purposefully, but I think we're kind of naturally drawn to people with a similar style or, haircut and things as we have. And so that's kind of how I've built my little base of people I follow, because I love their style or I love their recommendations and I feel like I can trust them.
Yeah.
So again, I feel like for them, it's like growing authenticity and validity in their recommendations.
So did a lot of the ones that you saw recommend this, were they also using the medium one, or did you make that choice on your own?
They were also using the medium.
Okay.
So it's really a testament to like how much you can literally like pick examples of people that you want to look like or trust their recommendations.
Yeah, because I honestly would have thought for a tanning product, like I would start at the lightest end,
Yeah.
just to be
I think
sure.
these though, I don't know. I just thought because you could adjust within each color, I figured I would either need to do a ton of light drops or I could do less medium drops. So it was like a good kind of middle ground. And because it's the summer, I figured, okay, if it's a little too much, like it's okay. It's the summer anyways.
Yeah. I have to say, when we first started talking about this, I had looked it up and I'd seen kind of the ads were a really diverse range of people in terms of just everything really, but especially like skin type or skin tone in this case. And I was kind of surprised because I felt like, could tan drops really like look tan on my skin? Like I'm already
Yeah.
tan to begin with. But this is actually, I'm intrigued now to try them.
Oh, no.
When I looked it up this morning, the medium ones are the ones that are sold out.
Yeah.
So yeah, they must be really popular.
I think like again, to that point, like the medium I think could work for really anyone. It just depends on how much coloration that you want. But even if you don't see like the tan per se, I think it would still give kind of like a glow or a gloss. And I mean, your skin wouldn't look as dry because you're moisturizing at the same time. And so I think they could probably have differential effects across everyone.
Yeah, so that's a good point, the whole moisturizing thing, because they are in a way encouraging you to be better about your skin by mixing it with a moisturizer.
Exactly, which I can say I definitely don't do typically. I am not one of those people who moisturizes after showering. It just doesn't happen in my routine. So this was a good incentive. Okay, like let's do these baby steps and get
Yeah.
to a good routine.
And especially if it's like a complementary to a sun time in the sun, then it's good because you do need more moisturizer after the sun.
Exactly. And what I'm curious to see actually is whether these like will extend a natural tan. So as I'm getting, actually my shoulders are like slightly burnt right now.
Yeah.
Being outside and not realizing that it was so bright. So I'm curious if I use some of these in moisturizer, if it would like extend the tan and kind of turn into tan versus just burn.
Oh,
So I'll test that one
interesting.
out next.
Yeah. So let me pull up. There was one thing I saw, the same brand, but they had kind of like a complimentary product. I think it was, oh, this self-tanning water. Did you hear anything about this?
No, I haven't.
So I was looking at this because it's basically like, I guess, a similar product, but it's like you just spray it on yourself and it's like self-tanning. So I guess this is probably more, yeah, I guess this is probably more similar to like a traditional tanning spray or like something.
I wonder though, the water thing is throwing me off. Like, I wonder if it actually makes a difference or if it's just more of like a spritz to refresh yourself or something.
So to me, this sounds more like a just at-home spray tan product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now I'm curious to try that because I would never have thought about, I would definitely do like or not an at-home spray tan. I would definitely get a spray tan, for example, before like a wedding or a big event or something. I feel like having a glow makes everyone look better. Like no one can deny that. But I don't know if I would do it myself. I feel like these things are more like, idiot proof than like spraying and missing whole stripes.
Well, that's why I also just worry about like if I were to spray something, spray comes in a pattern and spray is not even.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like
But
everyone has that like experience of a sibling doing like spray on sunscreen and you having like a huge mark across your back or something, and you do not want to relive
right, right. Yeah, so I'm kind of curious if those products would work in tandem or, one replaces the other, because it does seem like the drops are a lot more popular.
that. Yeah, maybe they just came out with the spray. Is it newer?
I don't think so. It
Hmm.
looks about the same. I don't know. I think I'm just curious because it's just like something I've never really used, any kind of tanning product. Because well, as a kid, same thing, like being outside, playing sports, going to the pool, you just do get tan.
Right.
And then as an adult, I'm just like, well, I'm like probably not going to burn, so I'm just going to
Yeah.
go
Well,
outside.
the interesting thing is I feel like I get tanner when I wear sunscreen, which is a good incentive, but like I still do believe that. And so I'm like an everyday, if I'm going to be outside at all, I put sunscreen all over. I should put sunscreen on my face every day regardless. That doesn't always happen, but definitely in the summer, it's like an everyday thing.
Yeah, I would agree. I always feel like I get tanner with sunscreen. Although in the last year, I think I've started using a stronger one. So I use this brand called Sun Balm for my
Oh,
body.
never
It's like
heard.
very natural. It's like all coconutty, and like the bottles are like different. They're designed to look like different shades of coconuts.
Cute.
It's very cute. And I think that is just so strong that it really actually does block the sun.
That's amazing. Doing what it's supposed to do,
Yeah,
which is a
yeah.
good thing.
Um, yeah, but I do feel like, I don't know if it's like the oils in sunblock or something, but it does kind of pull in some color, which I'm not complaining. I'm very happy.
Exactly. It's like a win-win. You're protecting your skin and you're getting the end goal, which is great.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah. So you said you're thinking about trying the darker ones,
Yes.
maybe.
Yeah, I actually, once I use a little bit more of this product, I would love to try the darker ones because I'm curious to see like, how much of a difference do they truly make, and just kind of test them out.
Yeah, I think it would also be good to know because then, come December, if there's an event, you kind of know what your level is to like use this without looking like crazy that
Exactly.
overnight tan.
It would be a good, I mean, now that I have like a little bit of a base tan from both the drops and just being outside for the first couple of weeks of summer, I don't think it would be as stark of a difference, even if it is a little bit lighter. Like if you go from super like baby pale skin, then I think anything will look different. And that also was why I saw such a difference after using these the first time, because I mean, my legs had not seen the sun in months. It was so scary. And so it definitely, I think, would be just more of a glow.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm just thinking compared to like, so my sister and I have the Cora Organics. It's like a glow body oil, and it's like almost glittery a little bit. But I think it's more of a, like you put it on for one use and then like it washes off. So it's
Yeah,
kind of more like body makeup.
I've heard about that. There's like a Tula product that's like a Tula glow primer. And this one definitely does not have any shimmer or anything like that. It's like very much just color.
Yeah.
But because it's like moisturizer as well, it does make you look a little bit, I don't know, just like smoother.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm thinking of maybe I'll get the dark version because I feel like I
Yeah,
might
you
need
should
that.
try
But
it. And then let me know how they are, whether they're worth
yeah.
trying.
Yeah, so maybe I'll add that to my list. But okay, kind of switching gears, you mentioned you had been trying a bunch of different stuff during quarantine. So, like, what are other things that you have ordered recently or tried and enjoyed or hated?
Yeah, so I actually have started using quite a few Tula products. They're also another, pretty sure they're very clean beauty, and they have like tons of great probiotics in them and just kind of health enriching ingredients. Again, I learned about them through kind of different people I follow and figured, okay, everyone is talking about them and raving about them. I might as well try. So I've been using their face kind of cleanser, which is amazing, super smooth, smells refreshing, really cleans out your pores. Their moisturizer also is really great. It's truly like I found that my forehead was always super dry, regardless of what I was using as a moisturizer. And this is the only thing that truly moisturizes my face and doesn't
Wow.
make me break out. So that's been amazing. I just started using PS 150, which is like a exfoliating toner that I actually got at Exhale Spa in New York after getting a facial one time. It's like a French, basically, concoction that these French ladies, they swear by. They're like, you need to use it. And I definitely I used it last night. I think it's pulled out a couple things on my face today, but it's amazing at kind of getting deep and getting any grime out, and really closing your pores, which I tend to have larger pores. So it's definitely minimized the appearance of those, given me like a bit more glow. So quite a few products, actually.
Wow. Okay. So you've really been making your rounds on
I
your
have.
routine lately. Yeah.
Yes. What have you used? I'd love to hear some examples.
Oh gosh. Okay. I started using that pharmacy honeymoon glow once a
Oh,
week.
how often? Okay, once a week.
Um, I don't. I might be going back. I don't know. Jury's still out.
Okay.
The other thing I tried from pharmacy is what they call their lightweight moisturizer.
Okay.
So I'm actually going to talk more about this whenever I launch my website with this podcast. But it's called a lightweight moisturizer. I think my favorite part about it is that it comes with like this metal spoon that it's like a magnet on top. It's very chic.
Cool.
I wish I had it with me, but it's upstairs. The thing, when you open it, it's like very overwhelmingly smells like honey,
Mm-hmm.
which I personally don't mind, but it is like a strong scent.
Right.
I also would not call it a lightweight moisturizer.
I mean, when I hear honey, that's just a scent. Like I think of really thick, like goopy, viscous material.
So it's very, in a light way, very creamy, but it just, if you put like one swab of it, like that's almost all you need. And I have pretty dry skin, so I'm always surprised at just like how creamy and how thick it feels in terms of just like I need so little on my whole face.
Interesting.
But I think it may just be a little too much. Like it's not like overtly sticky, but it almost feels like it's weighing down my skin a little bit.
How does it feel like when you wake up the next morning?
So I've been using it in the day.
Okay.
But we'll see. Those are the two I think so far, and I'm on both counts. I'm kind of like, we'll see. Yeah. But I've been getting good tips from people in these chats, so I'm going to start trying more stuff that people have been using.
I know. I want to crowdsource and like see, what else things people have recommended, because again, many minds are better than one, and it truly has taken me many years to start like truly investing in good products. I think the thing is like finding what works for you. Everyone has such different regimen, but it's better to have like a few things that work really well than tons of things that do not work well. You're just kind of wasting your money.
Yeah, and I think that's my goal here, is just to crowdsource all the people that I ask regularly, because everyone on the internet is kind of like, you have to have this product, and ultimately you only have to have that product if you have a similar skin type and a similar skin need and a similar desire to whoever's marketing it to you.
Yes.
But I think it's a really good way to put it, is that it's really an investment in terms of just like, time spent on making yourself feel and look good. But also, you are spending your money, and when I'm talking to people our age, it's like, yeah, like this is the first time in our lives that we are in the workforce and we're working, and then you really decide how to spend your disposable income. And is it worth it for your skincare? So like on that point, to kind of circle back with the drops, talk to me a little bit about the price point. Do you think it's like a worth it product? Is it going to last you the summer?
Yeah, I think I don't recall exactly. I think they're like $35 maybe normally, and I got them for like 28 or something. If you had them up, you can confirm or deny.
Yes. Let me.
But it definitely, so they're like, this is how big the bottle is. It is 30 milliliters,
Okay.
about 1 fluid ounce. So it doesn't look huge. This is, I don't know if you can see, after using like a few times, it's barely made a dent. So I definitely think they'll last the whole summer. I think the thing is with a lot of, especially like tanning products, even if you get like a tanning lotion, for instance, I also have like a Jergens natural moisturizer, just as like a easy something when I am in the mood to moisturize after a shower, like that's what I'll grab. And those bottles are like $16, and it's literally just a moisturizer with a little bit of color. I love them, but when I look at the difference of like results that I see between them, to me it's worth it to pay a little bit more and try this out. It's fun. It makes you feel better. It's also not a huge investment. So if I hated them, I would not have felt like I had bought something that I'll never use again.
Yeah, and I think, a product that lasts several months and you're using it regularly, it's not like it's a one-off use. It's, once a week is a good amount of time to be using something. And if it's really going to last a couple of months, I think that's a pretty good measure of, good utility in a product.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely one of especially like I'll equate it to different face masks that I buy, which face masks are quite expensive actually, which is something that shocked me. Like, again, the more that I'm now buying things for my own, you just don't ever conceptualize like how much things actually cost. It lands in your room. And we've been very fortunate to have that experience. But I think now it's like, okay, is this really worth, or is it doing what I want it to do for me? That it's worth the investment there.
Yeah, I think face masks are a tricky one, and that's something maybe that'll be our next chat, because I just anything that's like a one use, like how do you know that did anything?
Exactly. Well, also the difference between like a mask in like a tub, for instance, or like a sheet mask. I actually had never really used. That's another thing that I hadn't really used before quarantine and before now. But now I have been doing a lot of like hydrating face masks, trying to again not dry out my skin with everything that I'm doing. And those, like, it's fun. I feel like it's an event to put it on. But those you can literally see like price per mask kind of and see, is it worth it? I've definitely I lean toward using like certain tubs and stuff because I feel like you get more bang for your buck.
Yeah, I'm very much a face mask tub or tube type of person. Just because I feel like, well, that way I know how many times I can use it and that I can track progress over time and not just like use it one time and throw it out and not be sure. But it is really fun to put on, those sheet masks and
Yeah,
relax.
it's nice to do like a movie and some cucumbers in your eye. It's like a full at-home spa
Yeah.
experience. So I feel like I can see a glow immediately after, whether it lasts or not. The jury's still out, but if it makes you feel good, it's nice to try once in a while.
Yeah, and I think that in this time that we're in right now, that's a good point. It's just like things that also really make you feel good. Maybe that is worth more of your time and just investment into it because, we're not going anywhere. It's not really like, oh, I need to look really good, but you do want to feel good.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
think
I think that's important.
this time in general has made me more appreciative of like the small things and the simple things. And again, whether it's like that fresh face glow, if it's just sitting outside and like enjoying birds chirping and a cup of coffee, like truly those simple pleasures. And I think that's what it boils down to. You realize like what's worth it for me and what are all the distractions in this world that truly aren't making me that happy.
Yeah. The question I've been asking everyone is, do you have a favorite skincare tip or the best skincare advice you've ever gotten in your life?
That's a great question. So this is not like skincare advice necessarily, but it'll be my advice that I leave you with regardless. And it's really that like you're never dressed without a smile. And so I think it's truly so important to remember not only for your own well-being and, how your outward appearance, but also just for in your inner emotions, like smile. It'll make everyone's day better. It'll make your day better. It's truly contagious, and I think it completes you with like a radiance that no product will be able to give. That's my advice.
That's good advice. And I think that's what I think I try and remember is in this day and age, there's just so much noise of like, this will make you feel good, or this will make you look good, or will fix this problem. And ultimately, when I get dressed and I do my skincare routine in the morning, it does make me smile because I feel good. It makes me feel happy.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. It's a little less scientific than some of the others coming up, but I wanted to share our discussion of the tanning drops while it's still relevant for summer. Here are my takeaways. These tanning drops come in 3 levels, the sun-kissed, golden, and bronzed. Andrea tried the second one, golden, with which she saw a noticeable change in how tan she looked on the applied area. My thought, the names are probably more of a fun branding idea than actual descriptions of what you'll get by using them. Ultimately, the products will look different on each skin tone, depending on where you apply them on your body, how many times you use them, how tan you are to begin with, and how much you mix into your moisturizer. For lighter tones, this will probably yield the most dramatic results. While I have yet to try them, I'm confident they'd be more of an added glow finish on my skin tone, maybe like a semi-permanent body makeup. I think the biggest selling point for these is that they can provide that extra glow or extra tanned look without the sun exposure. If you do give these a try, have a product you want to chat about, or something you want us to investigate for you, let us know. Connect with us on our Instagram page at @afaceforradio_pod or our YouTube channel, A Face for Radio Podcast. And remember, what you put on your face is more than just skin deep. See you next time.